Welcome to another episode of Planet Nerdtooine. This is your host, Nerdtooine. We do an assorted of comic book related content. We do reviews on comic books, any new crazy happenstances in the comic book industry, whether that be crazy FOMO books or people doing shady things. We here at Planet Nerdtooine want to make sure that at least somebody knows. So whoever's listening, welcome my co-host, Year of the Collector, so we could get this rolling and we can start getting angry about what's going on.
Bro, this last couple of weeks, it's been like scalpers and FOMO combined,
Yes.
join
And
forces.
exactly. Joining forces is what it feels like. Because what we're talking about is recently Image has dropped two new original IPs that were not pre-ordered on FOC, which we'll get into in a minute what FOC is, just to help everyone understand. So they weren't pre-ordered and under-ordered to meet the demand, and people were going out and buying Orc #1 and now White Sky #1, and basically flipping them immediately for 10 times, almost 10 times the cover price the day of release.
Well, more than that, because Dork is going. I
Well,
think
but
the sales
we're
for
talking
even
about like day of release. Like it was like a $40, $50 book the day of the release, and then now it's hundreds.
yeah.
So I saw a sale for $175 raw and whatnot the other day for Orc #1. Like,
What are we doing? What are we doing?
and
What,
listen, I'm gonna be fully transparent here. I am not innocent. I pre-ordered Dork #1, cover A, cover B, and a blank, and then I bought another blank on a show on Whatnot for a cover price.
Let me ask you this then, because I had no idea about Dork, right? What got you to pre-order this book? Like, what was the thing that you saw, you read, that you
So
said?
I saw a post by the creator,
Okay.
just what it was, and I saw I immediately read Dork. Like, some people were like, "Is it D-Orc?" No. I saw Dork the second I was like, "What the heck is that?" And then I looked up half dwarf, half orc, and I looked at the art style. I was like, "You know what? I bet you that's gonna pop off." I had this gut feeling that like that
You
was
just
gonna
had
be
a
the book.
hunch. Just had a hunch.
Right? Yeah. No, there was. I still have not read it personally, and I have not. I don't know the story beyond the fact that it's a half dwarf, half orc that has an
So it
enchanted
was
shield.
not even that you read the solicitation or you heard an elevator pitch
Nope.
about it. You said, "Oh, that looks cool. Let me get a couple." That was it.
Yeah, that was basically it. And I even remember when I got it, and it was the day of the release. I was like, I should buy some more. I don't know why, and I used to be a hardcore reseller, a retailer. Like, I have exclusive variants. Like, before I was a writer, I did all that on Whatnot. You know what I mean? So like, I used to do that. Like, try to buy books to resell. But this one I saw, I was like, man, you know what? I'm gonna buy a couple of these. And then like I wish I would have bought more. Obviously now, but I ended up selling my first print cover A on for like a week later, probably about 4 or 5 days after release for $40. I just threw it up on Whatnot. Someone bought it out of my marketplace. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. That's freaking awesome. I just made a little bit of a come up. Awesome. And then literally the next day, $75. The next day after that, $95. What the? I'm like, what is going on? And then I had two blanks. So I said, you know what? Screw it. I saw some people selling the blanks for 100. I put it up on Whatnot, was like 80. I didn't market it. I didn't share it to anyone. I just put it in my marketplace.
Who's buying blank covers for $100? That's what I want to know.
A lot of
That's
people,
what
apparently.
That's what I know. Like, what kind of job do you have that you are you're good to just drop $100 on a regular day, like it's no biggie, on a blank cover?
I mean, maybe someone who knows an artist. You know what I mean? Like if I personally knew someone like, I don't know, Jamie Tyndall or like, you know, a Tyler Kirkham or something, and you could get them to do you a solid. You know what I mean? Like I'm not saying that's the case, but like if you want a reason, that would be one. You know what I mean? But or you're an artist yourself and you think if I buy this for 80, I put my time and work into it, sell it for 300, that's still a huge profit. You know what I mean? Like it all just depends on the scenario, but I'm shocked. Like the A cover, I kind of understand. Like that's if it gets optioned, which I think a lot of people are thinking it's going to because it's like very animated style, kind of can
I
translate
think that
well.
was that might be one of the driving forces behind this book going crazy on the second market,
I do think
because
so.
it's an original IP. It had no fuss behind it. It didn't have a lot of pre-orders. That's why there were not a lot of copies around. And people read it, and somebody thought, oh, this could be a good show, and that snowballed into, oh, this might get optioned. Oh, this is a good investment. This is a good spec book, and I think that it's now an avalanche. Like the snowball never stopped.
Yeah.
Like the second print got announced, and retailers online are already posting. Um,
So okay, to
Go
go a
ahead,
little,
go ahead.
little bit deeper into the second print. So they announced that they were going to a second print and said there will be 25,000. Okay, that's what they ordered. 25,000 second prints. And then they got 75,000 orders for second prints. So they're doing an emergency third
Third
print.
print
So
to fill in that 50,000 gap.
right. So now retailers are literally, if you go on eBay right now, as of the time we're recording, and I'm sure by the time that it posts in a couple days, when we actually post it, you can go right now. Dork #1 second prints are starting at $30 on
Pre-order
eBay for a
to
pre-order.
yeah.
And before we get into White Sky, because this is a little bit different of a conversation with White Sky, it's similar but different. I want to first step in and say, when we have these books, okay, if you're a retailer, a pre-order should not be based off of the market. A pre-order should be based off of the goddamn retail price. I'm sorry. You want to know what? You want to know? I'm going to give a little shout out to John from Encase Comics, because he has almost 100 pre-orders for the third print because he's not charging more than cover. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, you even get a little bit of a discount when you pre-order before the FOC. On top of that,
10%, I think you said
I
10%.
think I don't quote me on that. I'm having a
I'm,
meeting. We're
I'm
gonna
throwing it
talk
out
about
there. If you order through John, you get 10% discount. And if you have any issues, call Nerdtooine and he'll
oh
sort it
shit.
out.
Oh really? Oh, I'll just call Nerdtooine. He'll sort it out. Listen,
Tell him you saw it on Planet Nerdtooine.
listen, I'm not that kind of Jew. I don't mess with the numbers. Like I'm sorry. That's not my cup of tea. But so now, since we brought that up, let's talk about what FOC. So FOC stands for Final Order Cutoff. And that means that is the last day for retailers to put in their orders to guarantee that they get the copies that they order. You can order after FOC and hope that there are still copies available and hope that you'll get what you order. But if you do it before the FOC, it's basically like that's the order that goes, that's the final day before they send off the print. So they print the FOC orders. I'm sure more than that, but FOC is basically what you can pre-order through a retailer and not have to worry about this FOMO second market that has gone absolutely insane. And again,
Let me show
I'm not
people.
sitting here saying no,
Let,
you can't sell books for. I did it.
let's show people here. So this Batwoman #1 comes out March 18. And then if you look underneath the solicitation, you'll see that little calendar icon there, and it says final order cutoff February 23rd. So I want to explain something here because sometimes this gets lost in the sauce. So you call your local comic book shop on February 23rd or before, right? Say, hey, George, I'm use my example. I'm calling here my LCS, sorry. and I say, hey, George, I want to order, or I want to subscribe, or I want to pull to my subscription box, whatever you call it in your shop, Batwoman. 1, 2, 3, the whole series, doesn't matter, right? But specifically for issue number 1 and the variants, if your store puts in your number on that pre-order, that means you're gonna get specifically your copies ordered just for you, right? Let's say I call after the 23rd, right? And I say, hey, George, can you add Batwoman number 1 to my box, to my subscriptions, to my pools? He's gonna say, you got it, and he'll put there, right? The problem is when it comes to like indie books or small books, a lot of those books, your store is only gonna pre-order what people call before the final order cutoff, right? And if they order extra copies, that's when you come in and you get your copy after they fill in those subscriptions.
Right.
Does that make sense, right?
Absolutely.
Like, let's say we both go to the same store, and you call ahead before the FOC to pre-order your book, right? And there was one more person that did that got their order before FOC, and then I'm the third person to call. It's, hey, can I get the same book? But I call after the FOC. If they only pre-order those 2 books, guess what? I'm not getting it.
Right.
Because when it comes to smaller books, less known characters, smaller publishers, your local comic book store is not gonna gamble with their money as they would with like a Batman or a Superman, because having extra of those is not necessarily a gamble, because those books are gonna sell regardless. Exactly. So that's the reason sometimes you go to your local comic book store and you say, oh, today whatever comes out, I'm just gonna grab it from the shelf. And you get there and it's not on the shelf. It's because you and a lot of other people did not pre-order it. That's how that works. Remember, sometimes you go to, let's say I go to George. Hey, George, I forgot to pre-order White Skies. Let's say, can you order me cover A? He's gonna tell you, yeah, I'm gonna reach out and order one for you. They're not calling Image Comics to print out another A cover so they can sell it to you. No,
right.
That print run, that left Image. That's at the distributor level.
Exactly.
Now, right? Exactly. Now your retailer, your local comic book store is calling their distributor, Lunar, God forbid, Diamond, Penguin, whoever. Say, hey, do you still have any copies of X, Y, and Z, right? And typically, if it's an indie book, they're gonna say, no, right, we're sold out. That's how that works. And we're gonna keep hashing this every time we can, because we want our listeners, our viewers, to be as informed as they can. Because it turns out, we learned when we talked to JP in our last episode that even long time Wednesday Warriors in the comic book spaces didn't know what FOC was. Right. They didn't know that what actually counts as a sale is a pre-order.
Dude, one of the biggest episodes of my last podcast, the one I did solo, was my pre-order episode, because I pre-ordered like all of the Alien verse variants from different retailers. I ordered a couple from my comic shop. I ordered a couple from stores online, from a buddy. I ordered pre-ordered from all over to do a whole episode on like my experience with pre-order, because this was probably 3 or 4 years ago. I didn't know about it either. You know what I mean? Like, I've been reading comics for freaking 30 plus years at this point. All right, let me say 20, because there was a gap where I didn't read or collect at all. So, but a while, so, and I didn't know about that. I always just thought that was like a secret. Only the comic shops knew. Like, only they had the final cutoff power. Like, no, that's not the case. It is widely noted everywhere, because these publishers, they want you to pre-order it. They want to see before they send it to print what the interest is. And so with a book like Dork, a book like White Sky, there wasn't much of that. So they didn't order a lot. And that makes sense. That's smart business. That's
Yeah,
very smart business. And
yeah,
then you have situations like we have now where literally on day of release, Dork, you could have probably got it at the end of the day, maybe the next day, because it took a little bit to heat up. But White Sky literally was, because I was looking the whole weekend prior, every single online shop was already all sold out. The book had not come out yet. You couldn't pre-order it anywhere else, because obviously I missed the FOC because I was trying to get it the week before it came out. And even my guy on Whatnot, who always gets all the new releases, he didn't get any. So I was stuck. And not for nothing, I'm not proud of it, but I did. I went on the second market and found the cheapest one I could find. It was like $30 with shipping. It hurt. It hurt, but I wanted the
FOMO.
copy
FOMO's
because
a bitch, bro. FOMO's a bitch.
so this one is less FOMO and more because it was my gut. And the only reason why I didn't pre-order it is because I didn't think there was any way I'd be right twice in back to back. Like I knew
See?
Dork was going to be a hit,
You-
and then I was like, "There's no way I'm right on both." So I didn't. That was that was almost like me teaching myself a lesson for not. Oh, you don't trust your gut? Well, guess what? Now you're gonna pay secondhand prices. Deal with it. You ain't gonna make that mistake again, are you? Like.
I also want to clarify something because I was having conversations on TikTok with some of my mutuals, and some people were under the impression that this low prints on these books was like a marketing strategy by the publisher to like drive up interest on a comic book. And I want to clear something up, right? Publishers don't benefit from creating fuss on the second market.
Right. Absolutely
Okay.
right.
Okay. Yep. Their sales goes from them, Image in this case, to the distributor. Like whatever the distributor puts an order for, that's what they're gonna sell to that distributor, and then it goes from there to your retailer, and then from the retailer to the second market. They don't make a penny out of those second market sales whatsoever.
Well, true. But to take that thought one step further, what they do make money off of is the next prints.
Yes, absolutely. So if something happens to create fuss and demand, then they can authorize and greenlit and launch a second print. But again, they're selling that whatever the price is, it goes to the distributor. The distributor goes to the retailer. The retailer is supposed to sell it at cover price to make at least 20% profit on that, right? Again, the publisher is going to make their money on the second print, but it's not whatever those books.
It's not the same markup by any means. You're right. No, I want to make sure that
whatever those books end up going for on the market, on the second market, that money is not the same that the publisher is making.
So that is true. Now, one thing I just want, like, just food for thought. I literally just came to while you were talking. The one thing where I can see where they're coming from with that thought process is because you can make the case that Dork #1 was never going to sell 100,000 copies unless it did what it did, because they sold their first print run and then everyone went crazy and they too many people tried to get issue 2 the second prints, so they ordered 25,000 more, and then now they're going to order 50,000 more. Like, you know what I mean?
Right, like, now because they have a confirmation on the demand. But exactly. they don't control what happens after the book gets out on the market.
No, right. And I'm not saying that they did it intentionally. I did make a joke. I told you, I was like, it kind of seems like their new marketing plan to under order books and then rush them to second and third prints, doesn't it? Like, not seriously, because it's there's no way to know. Like, there are books that should have been great that didn't.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a marketing strategy. It's more like a PR. You could say if they're doing it on purpose, it's more a PR stunt, right? Because it's driving a lot. It's creating a lot of fuss, at least on the spec market, the spec not fandoms, like the spec spaces for comic book collectors. So if it's a PR stunt that they're doing on purpose to create buzz and eventually, you know, knock on wood, demand on making more prints of these seemingly unknown books, then kudos to them. They
Right.
are, you know, they're working the system. So, but again, final order cutoff, that is what counts as an actual sale for those books,
Correct.
right? By the time it gets to
Well,
your,
and
by the time you
anything
see
else that they
it,
actually
yeah,
facilitate after the FOC, but the FOC is the guaranteed sales because sometimes
yeah,
you can buy after the FOC.
yeah. After FOC, there is just an exchange of hands, right? The sale that count is the pre-orders. That's it. By the time you get to your comic book store, you see a book on the shelf. Somebody paid for that already, and they're expecting to sell it to you. They're expecting to make their money back. I should say.
Right. And now that brings up the final point of this little scenario. Oh wait, we do talk a little bit about White Sky, but one thing that I've seen and been hearing from a lot of people, and you experience this too, where certain stores will modify the price that they have it on release day to meet the market. Now, again, I am never going to sit here and try to say that I understand everybody's business and they might be struggling. They might need that extra little bit. I'm not judging you, really. Like, I am judging, but I understand that it's not necessarily always just because you're greedy or because you want to like bleed the market dry. Sometimes you just need it. I just want to get that clear first, but to me, I feel like there should be, and I can't believe there isn't some kind of contract or some kind of agreement with the retailers to not release things or to release things at the cover price for at least a limited time. Like even if it's just the day of new release.
Right.
Like come on. There's no reason that a $4.99 book should be on the shelf for $30 the day of release. I'm sorry. You're wrong for that. Now, if you want to, I don't know, say, oh, our order never came in. Oh, or only the ones that were pre ordered came in. We don't have any extra. Oh, or if you want to, like, just sell them on your own website or on whatnot or whatever, we can't stop you. And I mean, that's on you. You gotta that's something you gotta come to terms with. But to have it in your comic shop, that's sacred ground, man. That's sacred ground. You treat the comic book shop like it's a holy place. You don't swear and raise prices irrationally at your comic book shop. Should be a law.
Yeah, I don't know. There might be some consumer protection regulation against that. It's just people are not informed because those agencies are always underfunded and understaffed, so you don't really know what is it that they do or how is it that they work. But I mean, who knows? I hate to see it. I hate to see it. And for me, it's a red flag, right? Like when you go to a comic book store and you're like, we talked about this, like what are red flags on comic book stores, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
not having like a children's section, right? No female working, no female on the staff, or no female friendly staff people, or no no manners, nobody on the staff has like no knowledge whatsoever on comic books. Like those are red flags, right? Given we're gonna add to the list of comic book shops red flags, new release markups.
Yep.
That's what we're adding
You
here.
know, what it reminds me of? You remember the trend for a while where a lot of comic shops were like you would pick up something from like the back bins and you'd walk it up and then you'd be like, how much is this? And then they would go and check what it was going on eBay.
Yes,
It's got the same vibe to me. It's the same exact thing. Sure, you're legally allowed to do it. That's on you. If that's something you're okay with, hey, I'm
you
not gonna stop you. But there's a lot
you
of those that are gonna be never coming back to your shop.
yeah, yeah. You know, a couple of times. When I was in Florida, I saw that a couple of times in different shops. And specifically, there was this like collectible store in the flea market in Pensacola that I would go and I would see something priced on the wall, and I was like, oh, can I see that? And while I was like seeing it, they were like checking the how much, like, to see if they can mark it up on the spot, right? They did that to me once, and I was like, oh, what are you doing, right? I was playing dumb. So, oh, what are you doing? So, I'm making sure that I have this price at the correct fair market value. I was like, oh, how do you do that? And they told me, oh, I'm on eBay right now looking at sold listings. So I was like, okay. That one time I ended up paying, like, I think it was like $10 more than what the price was. I was like, all right, no worries. Next time I'm in that same store, they do the same thing to me. And I remember it was Miss Marvel #1 from like the 70s, like Bronze Age. And I see him while I'm looking at the book. I'm expecting it that the book is good and all that, because it's an older book. I want to make sure that it's good.
Exactly.
And I see him doing the same thing, like looking, and then he doesn't say anything. And I'm like, I don't know. I think this is not the fair market value price for this book right now. I think this is overpriced. Do you wanna check? And he was like, oh, is it? Playing dumb. And I'm like, no, I actually looked that up before I came here, because I came here just for this. I think he had it for like 50 some, like 55, 58, something like that. I was like, it's going for 20 and 25. Do you want to do 30? He was like, he looked at me like,
this sumbitch got me.
I'll do 30. I was like, thank you.
That's what I thought.
And he never did that to me again. I was a regular. Like, Maria and I, we used to be there like almost every weekend. And he stopped doing that shit to me, because I was like, I'm playing these games. Like, this is a two-way street, buddy.
You know what that feels like? You know that meme with from the Parks and Recreation, where the guy's in Home Depot. He's like, "Can I help you find something?" I know more than you, and just walk by him like, like that's same vibes. But yeah, and like it's getting bad. Some people are definitely taking liberties. And then like now with White Sky, the premise is cool. You know, the writer, he's one of the who did the Mafia video games. So this like his first, I think it's his first IP that he's done. I know he's written for other like stories before in Marvel and DC, but I think this is his first original IP, if I'm not mistaken. But it's I know when I read the press release and the synopsis, I was like, this sounds like something that I would get into. Granted, I'm a horror dude. I love a post-apocalyptic stuff, almost even bad ones. So me of all people, I'm like, man, I'm sure I'm gonna like it no matter what. But then I started getting that feeling, the same one that I had with Dork. It was bubbling. I was like, wait a minute, I think this might be it. And I was like, there's no way, because by this time, Dork was already like before they exploded the day of release, I could have got White Sky for cheap. Like there was a blank I found for $6, and I was like, man, I don't know if I want to pay $6 for it. Now it's like 40. I'm like, son of a bitch, I should have paid $6. Like that's $2 more than the cover price. What am I thinking? You know what I mean? Like it's, but I mean, we've heard very mixed reviews. I've heard some people say that it was really good. Years heard some people that said, I mean, it's okay. But I've heard people say that Dork was just okay. Like the guy who runs my LCS was like, I read it. I hadn't planned on reading issue 2. Like that to me is the biggest endorsement of it wasn't that great. If you're not going to even read issue 2, then that's you basically giving up on the series. Yeah. You know what I mean? So these books very well may be dollar books next month.
Yeah.
I mean, I still think the heat's going to last for a while. I think they'll come back to normal and a relatively decent price eventually, unless it does get optioned, and then it's going to be $1 billion book. Like we're going to see like in 20 years, Dork #1 sold for $10.5 million.
That's the thing. Like the more you look into this, it's what is really driving all these sales is FOMO, because there's those there's no actual reporting, no actual legit speculation, no reason to think this is gonna be adopted, bought, option, nothing.
and,
It's
and
just FOMO right now.
and not for nothing, I have some limited sources in the entertainment world. I reached out and they were like, "We ain't heard shit." Like I had one person to go, "The fuck is dork?"
Right.
Like like you know what I mean? And if there was any buzz, these people would know. At least one of them. You know what I mean? Like I haven't heard anything about in and I think that maybe with say like White Sky, because it's a game, maybe they're assuming like the writer is a game an acclaimed game writer. Maybe they're assuming that's gonna get optioned into a game. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe. Is
I
it
don't know.
possible? Absolutely. But at this time, as a time of filming of this episode, there is jack shit
No. And I'll tell
besides
you,
FOMO.
yeah, I can give you from my Nerd Initiative sources. We have like a whole Nerd Initiative weekly news with updates and all this stuff, and none of these books have come up on the net, on anything.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah,
listen, if you want to buy it at high prices because you think it's an investment, please do whatever you want with your money, but just do it informed. That's what we always try to do here. We're not going to ever tell you not to spend money. We're not going to tell you to like boycott something. I mean, I guess I'm technically boycotting the Ultimate Universe from Marvel, but that's a little bit different. But like I don't tell you to boycott it. I'm just boycotting it. Like, but just be informed and know what you're doing because at this point right now it seems like the gates of hell have opened and and it's just gonna keep getting worse is what it looks like. But I hope we're wrong. And you know what? Not for nothing, but I am going to try to surf this wave a little bit and try to make a little extra cash for myself if I can. I'm not judging you for doing it. I'm not. Like I said, I sold blank. I'm admitting Nerdtooine sold a blank #1 dork first print
listen,
for $80. Okay?
we here on Planet Nerdtooine. We're not against making money. Like that's not the issue. We're against people um, making uninformed decisions or following along trends and FOMO, not knowing what they're getting into.
Right.
Like, if you know what you're doing and you got money and it's not a problem for you, like, this is not the podcast for you. We're talking to people that don't know what any of this means, how any of this works, and we are just passing along the information so you don't get sucked into some of this BS like we have in the past. Like, we're not
Yep.
above FOMO. Like, we get hit by FOMO every now and then because we are fans, we are collectors, we love this shit. So
We live for this.
yeah, we live for this. We're telling you because we know we've been there.
Yeah. And like I said, I saw a copy go for 175 for dork #1 first print on whatnot. Like I you know what? This is the last thing I'm gonna say. This is the last thing I'm gonna say. All right, here we go. If you're willing to spend $175 on an unproven, unsubstantiated FOMO book, why would you not spend $175 on a key book that has been out for 40 years that has held up the test of time? That's my thing. That's my thing. Like, I know for a fact that you could get like early X-Men books for like 60 to 100, 175, like major keys that have these proven characters in it. That's just my thing. If you're willing to spend all that money on these new books and hoping that it's going to be a $500 book down the road, good luck. That's all I got to say. Wish y'all the best. That's too rich for my blood. Like, I ain't doing it. But if you want to gamble, by all means. I know. Listen, I know the high of that feeling of getting a high ROI because believe me, I got a few of those recently. So I get it, but just beware. Do you have any final thoughts on these FOMO explosion shenanigans?
No, no, I think I'm done with FOMO for at least 2 more months.
you're you're adorable. You know damn well we're like what 6 days away from the next one.
Yeah, I mean, next new comic book day.
I'm sure there's gonna be another. Like I saw, like there's another book that randomly apparently everyone's buying was like cocaine gator from Florida, a cocaine hippo from Florida or something, bro. I don't know, man. Apparently, like those books are going for like $20-$30, and I never heard of it before the other day. I was like, what in the world is this? What? Okay, all right. If that's what we're doing now, well, okay, all right. I'm game. Let's go. I bet you my book is better than all of them motherfuckers. But that's neither here nor there. All right. So, moving right along, that was supposed to be a short segment. We did 35 minutes. But that being said, we're going to move on to our review, our critique of Exquisite Corpses 8-9, as the Grinch would say. And before we jump into the review, we have to talk about the announcement that was made. The Exquisite Corpses universe is expanding. They're going to be doing 3 miniseries focused on the Fox Mask Killer, the Lone Gunman, and Rascal Randy. They're also going to do a what's the word? Wow. Graphic novel. I don't know why I couldn't think of that off the top of my head for some reason. A graphic novel with doing the backstories of the other killers that weren't very prominent in the book.
Okay.
So that's really cool. And I'm really excited about that. And it's going to be, from at least what the solicitations that I've read, it's basically like the backstory of these characters, like how they became who they were prior to going to this game. So that can be really cool.
I mean, yeah, all these people are essentially serial killers. So this is just gonna be a bunch of horror slasher series to go along with this universe.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Some of these, like, they've given you hints on, their profile, like the serial killer profile. I would love to see like what Rascal Randy was up to before this whole games thing.
Right.
The Lone Gunman, he could be like an action type of story because he was a military special forces kind of guy. So that could be like a different type of genre, but it's still inside the universe. The arsonist, right? Like the explosive guy. I would like to see more of freaking
Pretty Boy.
not necessarily Pretty Boy.
I don't know, man. I didn't really care for Pretty Boy too much until issue 8 and 9. Like he really like came out of like the shell for me.
Kind of like a dark horse in this whole thing, but I'm talking about like just on the surface level, like characters that have like a lot of thread to pull based on like
Recluse.
Recluse. That's the one I was thinking. Yeah, Recluse.
Thread to pull. I saw where your brain was going. Yeah. I saw where your brain was going.
see, it's like you know me. It's like you know me.
Just a wee little bit, lad.
Freaking yeah, those characters that like, especially like Rascal Randy, like Nurse Pete, like how Nurse Pete was like killing people in hospitals and all that. Like
Gamer Kid,
like they already have like built-in left and right limits based on like what we already saw. So I would like to see more of that stuff like expanded, even if it's just like retroactively. I have nothing against retcons in any way, shape, or form.
Oh yeah, sometimes if done right, prequels can be the best of the entire series.
This right
here,
what I mean? This right here is a prime example of it. I was telling you about it the other day. This is Dopart's a Lovesick Tale, which is a prequel to Lovesick. This is an insane book, and it actually makes Lovesick even better.
See, that reminds me of Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones, the first one you see is technically his second journey and his second expedition, because the second movie was a prequel.
Right.
And You should watch those because they're really good films, sir. I think both me and your wife would be very happy if you actually, watch them. Granted, like I told you, I understand not wanting to watch all of them. Okay, but you have to watch The Last Crusade. The one with Sean Connery. I'm sorry, that is almost a perfect film. Like, at
um,
least watch that one.
I'm gonna get to them at one point. Like I seen stuff like way after they come out. It's just I don't know. I never got around to it. My wife is good. My wife like one day she'll start harassing me about it, and I'm not gonna have a choice, and we're just gonna have to sit down and push
Listen,
through.
sit down right
Yeah,
now. What did I do? We're watching Indiana Jones, and that's it.
yeah. She's done me like that a couple of times already, and I'm like, you know what? This is actually good. Just like, mm, did I lie?
Right. No, but yeah, back to Exquisite Corpses. I mean, this world is so rich as is, and I'm excited to get more information on these characters. And like when we talk about this series as a whole, we've been saying from the first issue how good this book was. We were calling it to be optioned after the first issue. We started even doing fan casting before it was announced that it was going to be cast, before that it was going to need a casting. Like, this is, for me, one of the greatest books that I've ever read.
From issue number one, we thought this could have been a movie, a show with multiple seasons. We started to like speedball fan casts among each other with each other before it was even announced that it got optioned. And from we've been on board since day one. Nerdtooine got his own exclusive retail exclusive variant. I'm sure you can find it in the links if you want to check that out. I have been purchasing the the uh, the polybag variants with the cards because when all the cards come out and they put out the tabletop game, I want to play it with my wife because my wife's also a horror fan and she's been reading it and she likes it. So we said it from the get go. Great
It,
concept.
it's apparently coming soon, by
Hell
the way.
yeah.
The card game, like they're starting to send trade like the actual like training decks to the retailers to
We
start like so they learn
we
how to
have said
play.
this from the get go. Uh, Great concept, great writing, great artists, great marketing, great you.
Fantastic
Yeah,
colorist,
fantastic colorist.
Jordi Belair.
Great use of other mediums to like promote the series, like the card game. And we were not surprised nor shocked that somebody saw this and saw potential in it to adapt it in other media. So, not to
I would say the only thing that we're shocked about is that they chose to do a movie over a TV
right.
show. That's really like the only thing that we're shocked about because I feel like there's way like this is such a rich story from so many different point of views, and I think that's what makes it so good is because you get to see the full story. Like you get to see it from what the killers are doing, from what the rich people are doing, from what the humans that were just stuck
Stuck
there
in the
are
middle,
doing.
people that are just stuck in the
Right.
middle, that to no
And
fault of
like
their
for
own.
me, the only way that they could possibly make it into a single movie is to cut out a lot of that. So I mean, that obviously, listen, I am not a movie producer or a TV producer. I am just someone who reads comics and consumes a lot of different kinds of medium, and that's my opinion. And I don't get paid all that money to make it, so what I have to say really doesn't matter. I'm sure whoever, I mean, I know I'm gonna like it unless it's horrible. Like, but Tynion's gonna be very much involved, and I highly doubt that he's gonna let his series be adapted incorrectly. You know what I mean? So like I have all the faith in him. Like he's one of those people, oh, Tynion's writing it, sign me up.
Yeah.
I'm in. Like I don't you don't need to know I don't need to know the title. I don't need to know what publisher. Nothing. If I hear Tynion, I'm in. Like that's just that simple. So hey, I mean, this rich story can be done in one movie. More power to you. I don't think it can, but that's not the point. But So today we're going to talk about issues 8 and 9 of this series. The series is starting to get to, at least the first season of it is starting to come to a close. It was like what, 12 issues, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Total. So we're in the back half, and by we issue 10 just came out. We didn't want to include it on this
I didn't
episode.
even read it.
Um
I didn't want it to like.
I haven't either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I literally, I have it. Like it's sitting over here, but I just I figured
It's
let's do
13 issues. I
two
just
issues.
double checked to make sure
13.
it's solicited at least for 13 issues as of right now.
Well, since we know that it's confirmed to be doing a 5-year run, I bet it does end for sure on 13. And then whatever happens later would be the next season. But there's been like, so to catch anybody up who is just now learning about what Exquisite Corpses is, it's basically the Hunger Games meets the Purge meets Nightmare on Elm Street with a character who's basically Jason freaking Voorhees, which I called him that a couple issues ago. He did it even more so in this issue. Holy crap! Well, in issue 9, we'll get to that in a little bit. But so right at this time, a lot of the killers are already out. There's been a lot of casualties, just regular people as well as these bad horrible people. And this whole story is being orchestrated by the game master and these rich, influential people that go by state names. Oh, because of course they're literally their state, and whoever wins the game gets power until the next game.
Yeah, it's 13 families that were around when the 13 colonies came and united.
Oh my
It's just
god!
it's dawn on you, right? 13
Oh my
issues, 13
god!
killers, 13 family members, or 13 families. Um,
How did I not get like as in depth as I go into these freaking
it
issues?
just
How did I not
it
catch
just
this?
hit me. So you got
Did
this.
you see that? I was like,
It's just these 13 families that
oh my god!
pull the strings on um, America, seemingly the world. We don't know what is the limits to their power and
Right?
influence, but basically they run the country from behind the scenes. And once, um, what is it? Once every 5 years, they get together.
I think 5. Yeah.
Each family they pull like cards from a hat, and then they get a weapon of choice for the games, and then they gotta find a killer that specializes on that type of
And
weapon
that is
or
very, very important that we
right.
learned even more so in these couple issues.
Then they hire or blackmail or twist the arms, or sometimes they just get them to volunteer, because that's some of these killers are insane. And they,
You mean I can get away with murder? Sure,
yeah,
I'll sign up.
they find a city or a little town in the middle of nowhere. They basically close off this little town to the rest of the world via an actual physical perimeter. They disconnect them from the internet and all that stuff, and then they cut loose their killers to go out and not only kill each other but kill as many civilians as possible. And whoever is the last standing player on the tournament, on the game, that's the family that is gonna get to be running things for the next 5 years. It's not like everybody else is completely out of the loop, but like out of the 13 families, they rotate who is actually like calling the shots, let's say, for that 5 year period. So this is something that's already built in the story. Like by the time we jump in, they seemingly been doing this since the foundation of the country, and this time,
No, we learn in these issues that one of the Massachusetts, who is one of the heads of these cities, sorry, states, she has been playing the game herself for 40
right,
years.
right. That's the old lady. Like
Yeah,
her killer is the lone gunman.
the lone
Yeah.
gunman. Yeah,
So, um,
who unfortunately met his demise in issue 7.
well, issue 8.
No, he's right. It was the end of issue 7.
Well, he's still alive on issue 8.
Oh
Yeah,
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 you're
yeah.
right. Sorry,
No,
man.
so on
Damn,
issue 7,
you're
he
right.
went against the lady fox, the fox mask killer, and we didn't know who was going to come out on top. And then issue 8, we saw that he was just,
Yeah.
on the like on his last leg, basically trying to like pass on the mask to somebody else while he was dying. Um,
Yep.
so the Fox mask killer got the best of him. Um, he finally we actually see in issue 8 who's under the mask is this Hispanic former military captain. I think he was a Navy SEAL. Um, and basically, we are introduced in multiple ways to the fact that the rules are not really rigid when it comes to the tournament, right? Basically, what the lone gunman conveys to a civilian is that if you put on my mask and you take my gun and you go out there and you kill these people and you become like the you end up being like the last man standing, you win the thing as the gun for Massachusetts, right? Like each family, they're like from the original 13 colonies, they're like whoever from wherever, and they are like the fire, right? So
Yeah.
if somebody takes up that mantle as an arsonist and they win the whole thing, then that family ends up winning. Apparently, the
And they confirmed that even further in issue 9, when Lady Carolina was trying to scheme with Massachusetts after it was confirmed that Massachusetts was out. It brings up an interesting point because Massachusetts said that it's the gun that actually is the thing. So, like, if, for instance, her sister, who is playing in the game this year, who no longer has her weapon, takes up that weapon, then they actually would both win.
right.
Like, because technically Massachusetts would be the winner because it was the gun that would be the winner, but Lady Carolina doesn't die at the same time.
Right. So that's how I saw it. Like win-win. Um, Lady Carolina gets to live, but she wins the tournament for somebody else. So the two people that are like that are trying like to conspire in this, they both get their W because Massachusetts gets to be in power, and Carolina gets to keep her sister basically.
Now the only thing that the lone gunman was very, very particular about put on my mask. And Laura decides not to put on the mask and just go as herself. And then we see it later in the next issue that Pretty Boy, well, we'll get into him, how that he survived and how he's on a warpath now. How he survived. Like, I'm going to stop right here. It's good to see that a knife wound to the heart is a killing blow after two people who were in the explosion in the earlier issues. They took a bomb to the face
Point blank.
and survived.
Point blank.
Like, I'm sorry, what? Like, because he even like we'll talk about it a little bit. Even the fire starter Blaze, she
Layla
survived
Blaze.
too,
Layla Blaze.
and
Yeah.
Layla Blaze, and she not only blew up, but she also walked back first into a
Yeah,
fire.
and she wasn't even as messed up as Pretty Boy.
Yeah, Pretty Boy's got
Pretty
all these cuts
Boy
on his
came
face.
out
He's
looking like a
jacked up.
Namekian, like his muscle fibers were like on the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, I,
But see, now that's the Pretty Boy. So I think it's going to be interesting, and I don't know how it's going to play out because Pretty Boy later picks up the lone gunman's mask and puts it on. So I feel like somehow that could come into play. Like, if they use the gun and don't have the mask on, does it count? Because the mask is significant too somehow. You know what I mean? So, like, that could
yeah,
be
I don't
a
know
little.
because she was also kind of like refusing to play the game. She was more basically, oh no, I'm gonna stop this. Not that I'm gonna take the gun and I'm gonna
Right.
go kill some people, but I'm not gonna kill the people that they want me to kill. Like I'm gonna go and kill like the people behind this. Kind of like that's kind of like the
Yeah,
vibe.
like that to me was one of the few low points of this entire series so far was her little speech to the lone gunman, because I feel like it was meant to come across as like empowering. Like, I'm not gonna, play their game. I'm gonna stop it. I'm gonna do all this, because she talks about how her father never gave up, so she's not gonna give up and she's gonna do what needs to be done. But you're one person against the entire infrastructure of the whole country. Now, maybe that is the oh shit the hell. Sorry, my phone was ringing. I actually got a phone call. What the hell? I
On
didn't
a
know phones could do that.
Friday.
I didn't even know phones could do that. Wait a minute. Hold on. What is going on here? Actually, I'm probably gonna leave that in too, because I never got. That's kind of funny. But like, see, got my whole train of
So
thought
the
lost.
speech, we talked about this
Yeah,
offline. Um, we both agreed that the speech didn't necessarily land it or did what it was trying to do, and like you had like it didn't land for me for a set of reasons, and then it didn't land for you for a different reasons, and that just goes to tell you that it missed the mark because we both looked at it from different angles. Like you thought, okay, this is the moment where like she talks herself up and she like psychs herself up into like this I don't know, Tomb Raider like boss girl that's gonna go and eat the world. And I was like, you know what? I'm not even looking at it that way. I'm looking at it like she's trying to convey this message that her father was like did all the sacrifices so she could have a better life. And to me, it didn't land there because after she goes on and on about how her father wanted to be in the army, but then they lost their mom or their mom was not in the picture. He ended up being stuck in that town, but he always knew that his daughter could have a better life. She went into the army. She finished as a private. So that just tells me either they don't know how rank work in the army, or she got kicked out of the army early because you don't go in and come out as a private unless you fuck up like really bad. And then at the end of the day, she went, got in the army, served, did what her father couldn't, but then she still came back to this little town to do nothing that she was aspiring to do, if you will. Like to me, just like where are you going with this speech? Like at the end of the day, with all the sacrifices that your dad made for you, you still ended up in this town.
right.
Like to me, that didn't land there. If I don't know if what exactly where they were going for, I'm still confused. Maybe somebody else read something in there that I didn't. I just thought that was like you kind of like spitting in on the grave on the memory of your father by being here still. Like
Right.
I don't know. She said, "Oh, I was supposed to be better than this. I was supposed to get out of here and do great things, and I was bigger than this town." But she came back by choice, and we don't know why. Like, there's nothing there that says she wanted to build a community. She wanted to make the town better. She wanted to prove that you can make it in there. None of that is said there in that speech.
Right.
So to me, that's why it didn't land it.
Yeah. No, I agree. And it like also, but like for me, like it like you said, when it came across almost a little delusional to the
And the,
situation
and,
at
and,
hand.
the, and the gunman says it's like, who do you think you are? Like he's
Yeah.
aware,
And
he's aware who these people are. Like they run the country, and you're just
and then she was like,
some
you know
private.
what?
Yeah,
That's the second time someone's asked me that.
you are
Oh,
just
come
an
on.
EMT in a town in the middle of nowhere, and your military background is like you was a private for one contract as a medic, and you never deployed.
Right.
Like
Right. And they made a note like a point to say that. So that's not us like assuming anything. That's literally she said
verbatim.
I did not go. Right. Like so it and nothing, and to be honest, up until this point, I was rooting for Laura. Like I thought I'm thinking like, yo, she's badass because she's done some pretty badass things
Surviving.
in this
She's
book.
been
You know what I mean?
surviving.
Yeah. She's had interactions with the Fox Mask Killer, with Lady Caroline, with Recluse,
Nurse
with
Pete. Nurse Pete.
Nurse Pete, with, and then now
They took
you
out
add,
Nurse Pete. Remember at the hospital?
yeah,
Like she's good. She's like she's been slowly but surely like realizing what's happening. not only surviving,
Right.
but at times fighting back. Like, I don't think she really needed this
Exactly.
monologue to like psych herself up. Like, she's been, um, yeah,
Agreed.
I don't know.
Agreed.
And then, what else?
But to talk about one thing I really liked in that issue, when we touched on it a little while ago about Pretty Boy. So the whole idea of Pretty Boy is he's this very attractive young man with, he's very charismatic, and then he get blown up in the last issue. Like you were saying, when we see him again, he literally has glass shards sticking out of his head. Half his face is gone. It's just melted off. He is just a
His
mess.
torso, like
And
his
he
upper
picks,
body's all burned or exposed, like no skin.
yep,
Because he was like
and he picks
shirtless
this,
when
yep.
the fire, like the bomb just ablaze everybody around them. Um, he is like a
But then
walking
we got
corpse,
to
basically.
yeah, and we got to see why he's such a why he's in this game in this issue. Besides, we haven't really seen him be like a killer so much. Like he did, he's done a little bit, but this he picks up a hatchet and he just starts killing people left and right, tomahawk to the face, take another girl, throwing her face into the window, and then homeboy ripped out her eye, didn't cut it out. He literally grabbed it with his fucking hand and just ripped it out. Like that was
That was
gruesome.
a crazy
Like I
visual for sure.
and then like later on when you see that character again, you can actually see the eye ligaments hanging out of their head later on. Like when we come back to this scene later, yeah, it was just something to behold. It was really kind of freaky looking and it looked more like a demonic demon than some human being.
And,
That's just
and
messed up.
I
Like,
really like the way they did that one page when he's like took out the eyeball from that person, because they could have just gone one panel, hand on the face, and next panel, eye on the hand. But they went
right.
hand on face, then
The silhouette
oh
of Pretty
pretty boy
Boy
just like
and
grinning like really hard.
and
The
and then you
the
see
hand,
the
yeah, the
fingers.
fingers
Like if
like,
you look
yeah,
closely,
the fingers like
oh,
reaching into the eye socket, and then
yep.
the motion of the eye coming out with the blood just streaming behind it.
Which is it's kind of weird saying that kind of thing is so beautiful, but it really, if you look at it, it's truly fantastic artwork.
Yeah,
The lettering, the coloring, everything about that page is
yeah, they
perfect.
didn't
Like it is so
they
well
didn't
done.
leave it to the imagination, or they didn't let it happen in between panels. They just show it, step by
Right.
step, basically. Beautiful, beautiful.
Beautiful. Well done. And then like we get to see Javi and Meth Head Mike and the little kid. Man, I'm drawing a blank what the kid's name is all of a sudden. Um but we see them coming across the maze,
Mhm.
which is now on fire, and that's the last place that Javi knew his boyfriend was, and he goes running in, and unfortunately he finds his boyfriend dead because Gamer Kid took him
Yeah,
out shortly before Rascal Randy took Gamer Kid out. And there's been a lot of really heartfelt and like really deep, like emotional traumas that we get to see with these regular characters, the ones that are not like the killers. And that's one thing I'm worried about with it being a movie adaptation, because I feel like we'll lose a lot of that with the restraints of a single movie. But man, when you talk about a absolutely fantastic story arc, character arc, we got our boy Meth Head Mike. If Meth Head Mike dies, I'm gonna riot. Just for the record, I'm now 100% Meth Head Mike is my dude. If he goes out, we got problems, because he was first just a conspiracy theory drug dealer, and now in this issue when they're walking up to Javi's boyfriend's body, he goes up to the little kid. He tells him to put his hat down and said, "Hey, buddy, keep your hat down,
yeah.
please. Trust me." Like, and like you don't think, when you think of a drug dealer, you know what I
Well,
mean? You don't
he
think,
wasn't a
"Let
drug
me
dealer. I think
protect
he
this
was
kid."
a med head. Like, he was like the town med head.
No, he actually was selling, because remember it when he showed up to the
Oh
party,
yeah, the
everyone
kids
was like,
were
"Are you
coming to
holding?"
him as see if he had any. Yeah.
Yeah,
You're right. You're right. You're
like
right.
this was the drug dealing, conspiracy theoring guy who worked at the
Tinfoil
gas station,
hat. Yeah.
right? And now he's here protecting this little kid from seeing this gruesome fate, and it's
And
just
trying to
so
save people. Remember,
yes,
because when he gets
yes,
to the pit where everybody else
yep.
is, he's trying to warn everybody, yo, we gotta get out of
But
here. They're surrounding us.
unfortunately, it was
And it was like, that's Meth Head Mike.
the freaking meth head Mike, the freaking conspiracy theorist. And then and this is what's really cool about this book, is that all these characters are all separated when it started, and now they're all starting to come together. And sure, that's partially because they're setting the outer limits on fire, and they kind of have
Yeah,
to move
they're
in a similar
Fortniting. They're
direction.
Fortniting the shit. Like
Right, right.
they're they're burning the forest and the town um, from the outside in to bring everybody closer so they can like ramp up the dramatics and the antics for the tournament, which they really didn't have to. Like the killers were like rocking up body counts, and the killers were like finding each other and killing each other. There was no reason for that, and like some of the family members brought that up with the game masters, like, hey, you're taking these liberties to do all this shit. If my killer, my player dies, I'm coming for you.
Yeah, they even told him that they were gonna disembowel him in
Yeah.
this issue. But I do think that there is a recurring circle on all the games, because he's been doing it for so long. I think just to guarantee that the killers will try to run away, like Pretty Boy did.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Well,
So
yeah, they
like
do hold a
they were always going to
perimeter.
do
Yeah,
that.
they do hold a
They
perimeter.
just sped
Yes.
it up. They just sped it up a little bit. But and then like, so when I was talking about how all these stories collide, because then Audrey, who was with was not Audrey. Is it Audrey? Yeah, because Laura's the other one.
Yeah, Audrey.
Audrey left Laura all by herself when they crashed in the previous issues. So now she's now in that area where Pretty Boy just killed all these people,
Close
right?
to the pit. Yeah.
Yeah. So she's walking around, and she slips on
Somebody's guts.
guts or something, right? And then she falls face first into Angela, who had her eye ripped out, and that's when you see the little the strands. And then another thing, I like, the coloring was so good on those couple panels. But one of my favorite panels in the whole series so far, it's a 2-panel set. It's when you see it's a green, and then the silhouette of her head, you can see that it's sliced, and it just kind of tilted off of the neck. And then the next panel, it's falling at her feet. So like when she fell into Alice, I'm pretty sure it's Alice, the one that had the cat ears on, she knocked off the rest of the head, and it
Yes.
comes bouncing at her feet. Like, I thought the way they did that to show like how it was there, and then it just fall and then dropping. They've done so well in transitions from panel to panel in this series. It's kind of, and I said it from day one, it's very cinematic. Like, it's not like a comic book that you just read. Like, the way they set everything up, it looks very
Yeah,
cinematic.
because a lot of
And
the
then this is the
panels
point.
are landscape format, so
Yeah.
it gives you that perception of like watching a movie.
Yeah, and then like this is where we see one of at the very beginning, Audrey was like this scared, like she was just a damsel in distress, right? And then she sees her son's mask on the floor. And that's when, like a freaking zombie rising from the fire, Layla Blaze is like, burn it all, reaching out with her hands. And then Audrey's like, nah, fam, not today. And she picks up that axe and just, whatcha, right here. Okay, that not for nothing, but that is a crazy angle to chop someone's face.
On the nose, right?
like that's just a crazy spot. Like, she like basically like cut her head in half with that strike. Like, even cut into some of her eye. Like, it was like, that's freaking gnarly. Like, I
And
saw that, was
she
like,
was already
damn,
missing her
girl.
nose. I don't know if you noticed that,
Yep.
but like her
Yeah, I
nose
did
was
see, yeah.
already gone, so it was like straight skull.
Yeah. And then like she, even with the axe still in her face, she's like, oh my God, someone help me.
Yeah, it was
And
it
I
was
really
like a maternal instinct, like, oh my God, my kid's somewhere around here, and she was like, oh
Yep.
no, I'm not having this. And
She
then
snapped back to
exactly,
reality.
she came back to like, oh my God. What did I
Wait,
do?
when she heard that bone crunch, she was like, ah. But then I did like how they showed Lady Caroline like watching this. She's like, ah, look at that. Sweet Pea can have a sharp bite, huh? Like, I really like that. Like, it's kind of teasing that maybe she is going to influence the final. And like, there was this really great series of panels where you see these characters either like, we got Audrey looking like all crazy in her
All
hands.
the plot,
You've got,
basically, at this point.
yeah, all exactly all the plot threads like cascading down while there's this great, unbelievable monologue. Like I when I read this, and not to toot my own horn, but it reminds me of something that I wrote in my book at the end. You've got all these different characters that you're showing, and you have this. Like I'm gonna read because I think it's very important that we
Floor is
read this.
yours.
Every conflict has a point of no return when violence becomes war, and the first stages of war is always the same: denial. Because war is always something that could never happen here. Because war reveals who we are beneath the skin, the truth we don't want to see. And that's where all monsters just stumbling along. That we're all just monsters stumbling along. And that's how we'll die, alone, because we are small and they are big. And these words are on top of the final pages of this issue, and over over all the characters in their plot points, and it's just expertly well done. And and then that's when the whole speech comes in that we talked about earlier, because that was the final part of the issue, was them basically like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna take on all of them because I am the best. But I don't know if that's gonna be the case. But I think issue 8 was, it was a lot more. It wasn't. It's weird because like I feel like it was action packed without having that much action. You know what I mean? Like the story was action packed, where it had a few, minor action scenes, but there's so much juice and just so much extra in the story that it felt like a very powerful issue.
Oh, for sure, for sure. There was multiple like turning points for certain characters, like Laura and
Yes.
Aubrey, right? Like Javi finding his boyfriend. Like not that things weren't ugly before, but now they're facing their personal losses um, by like Aubrey finding randomly her child's mask, right? Like that awoke something in her, even if for a moment. Javi's worst fear is finding his boyfriend dead after, going all over town trying to like get back to him. And Laura realizing maybe in her own mind that it's up to her to stop this madness, whatever is going on. So, and then to a lesser extent, Lady Caroline witnessing the civilians stuck in the middle of all this, kind of like fighting back. So there's a lot of that going on. Issue 9, the highlight for me was issue 9 was Rascal Randy.
He's a issue stealer. Like if he's featured in the issue, he's the best part of it every single time.
He
Period.
was written he was written in this issue like a combination of like uh, Mike Myers and a little bit of Jason and
Yep.
some Bourne in there too, because like you see him like somebody turns around and he's just standing there, just aura farming,
Yeah.
waiting for people to get their little jump scare so they can he can put their hands in them. He gets thrown into a pool. He's tied up with a bunch of stuff. You think that's the end of him, and next thing you know,
Javi ties him up with the lane rope.
Yeah.
It's like an Olympic size swimming, not like a kids pool. Like they're in a high school at that point. We'll get more how they get there in a little bit because that is an important part. But yeah, he just straight up is like just all wrapped up. You think there's no way he's getting out of it, and then Javi's just walking along, and then he turns around and sees him. He's like, "Oh, come on!"
Yeah.
And he just keeps running.
Yeah. And then at the end, they're leaving, and he's just standing on the roof, like looking down.
Yeah,
Like, come on, man.
yeah. Rascal Randy is just the
and
truth.
he doesn't
Like,
break character. He's always wearing the damn suit. So
yep.
that's what makes it even more horrifying, because this guy is trying to strangle you while wearing bunny ears.
right, wearing bunny ears from Jersey. For me, what really stuck out in this issue that I really liked was the scheming, because a lot of the rich and powerful are scheming throughout the entire issue. Like at the beginning, we have Georgia coming to New York, like, "Hey, looks like you're the favorites. One of us is gonna win. Maybe we should team up and make sure, you know." And New York's, I love what they did with New York, because he's such a New Yorker. He's like, "Why the fuck do I give a shit about you, bro? Like, I've got the best killer left in the game. I don't need your shit. Like, what are you talking about?" But like, and they made a point at the end of the last issue to like really dog Massachusetts. Like, look, Massachusetts isn't going to win for a 40th consecutive year. And then we have South Carolina being all schemy, like, "Listen, you're the only one who I can think can help me get in touch with my sister. What are we going to do?" And at first you think she's just being a bitch to her. She's like, "The rules are rules." She's like, "All right, I don't give a fuck about your rules." She's like, "No, you idiot. The rules. That's how we're gonna screw them all over." Like, and she's like, "What?" Because I mean, she's been playing this game for 40 years. As she said, "I know these rules better than anybody else." So you get like all these rich and powerful people. It's not just enough to win. They got to embarrass their other rich families. They got to try to make money on the side with all the little side bets. Who killed the most civilians? Who had the highest body count? Like all this other stuff. And I don't know what it was about this issue that stuck out to me. Like that was that there are less players on the field. So now the game really begins up in the stands.
Yeah, I think James Tannion is making a really heavy social commentary here on how the rules and the game is played differently by those in power, right? Because not only they're playing with other people's lives, right? And this is all like a big metaphor for like real life influence, the type of influence that oligarchs and rich families have in their countries, right? But like these people decide what to do in a random town. They get to cut off the resources and the lines of communication for this town and seemingly in the middle of nowhere. They get to decide how they're gonna play the game in their city, in their town, who's gonna die, who's not gonna make it, where they're gonna push the game to, so everybody gets forced into one area. And then when the game is not going in their favor, they have like side parlays. Even when they're losing, they can still make money, right? And that's like a very, very specific type of criticism on how money works in this country. Like people that have money, they never seem to like lose, even when their business crash.
Even when they
even
do.
even when their business they don't reach their profit margins. When their mergers fail, they still end up falling upwards, right? And that's what you see here with these families. Even when their killer dies, the person that they are the person that is the avatar for the power that X family may have. Oh, we're good. Our guys still make me X amount of money. I don't care if I win the whole thing. I was just here to, for the vibes, and and I left with a good amount of money, so it's whatever. I don't care to pass on the head of this organization to somebody else, because I won even when I lost. And then the other element to that is like now the rules, right? Not only they're flexible, they're open to interpretation, and the person that has seniority apparently has some knowledge that other people don't have. that now they're gonna get away with bending the rules basically in their
Right.
favor. It's not enough for these people to run the country, to own everything, to be murdering people out there, but they also bend their own rules that they set in place for their own little game. Like I don't know how much meta can this get, but it's pretty like heavy-handed
Yeah.
that
No,
that
absolutely.
because like if you've gone through one of these conspiracy rabbit holes on the internet, you know what is being laid down here by James Tanyan, with all that with having families specifically being in charge of the entire country like that. So I
Yeah.
I I think even people that are not really paying attention to that stuff is very powerful and is very intentional.
Yeah.
So I don't mean
I think even like I said, even ones who aren't really reading into it, I feel like they're gonna start seeing parallels and be able to connect at least some of the dots to what he's laying down. Because like we talk about all the time how not many people read in depth and have you know the ability to understand what they're reading, and we go so far, almost too far in depth sometimes, and we get that, but like I think, like you said, it's very heavy-handed. And it's intentionally heavy-handed. I think so that even the people who aren't diving super deep and just enjoying it as just like regular comic book and not realizing the undertones and the
the politics
subtext,
of it.
he
Yeah, some people.
he's making sure that you have to
Yeah.
understand it.
So yes, this is very political. This is a very is a heavy critique and commentary on the the power structures on specifically our country, right? And
And you know what's really funny? You don't hear too many people talking keep politics out of my exquisite corpses. I don't think a lot of people even realize how politically charged this book really is, because it is. It's very like it may not be like governments and presidents and all that, checks and balances, but if you look at what's really being said, what's really happening, you can kind of like, and like in this issue specifically, like when we see the those fire starters, the fireflies, they're like dousing the bar oinkies where Lady Caroline was found where she kills people a couple issues back, and they're laying gasoline all over, and they're basically like, who's winning? Oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who's left. We're just gonna, and they're just cleaning up the evidence. And we had, Laura just kind of hiding and hearing all of this. And like when we get later in the issue, Meth Head Mike, Javi, and why can't, oh
a
my
little
god,
kid,
what's
I
the kid's
can't
name?
remember.
Oh my god, I have it written down. I'm just gonna skip to that part. Jason,
Jason,
there we
okay.
go. Jason. They break into the school because Meth Head Mike brings them to this room, which I'm guessing is like where they broadcast like the announcements. Like it doesn't, I don't think it's like the principal's office or anything, but it was locked. They had them pick it, and they go to a CB radio. And Meth Head Mike's doing his normal conspiracy theory stuff, talking about why this even exists. There's a radio, like a public radio channel that people just set their stuff to, so and anyone 100 miles could potentially pick it up. So he's on there like, help, someone help me, please, we're all trapped, we're all gonna die, help. And the Firefly guys hear it, and they answer and pretend to be
And
the
they try to
chief
set him up.
of
Yeah,
police. They try to set him up to tell him exactly what's gonna happen, where they're gonna go. And then we got to see Laura, who didn't need any speech. She's just sitting there waiting. And like when she figures out like it's a trap, she shoots one of the guys in the leg, right? And then she cuts up and she's up with the other one, and they start like talking shit. Like the guy is literally talking shit to her, like he basically like explaining how little they matter. But basically he tells him that the actual chief um sold out the everyone in the town for
per
$1,200.
head or something like that.
Yeah, that's how much life costs here. Is that exact line that the guy used on her before she just blew him away? Like straight up, more power to Laura. She straight up was like, I ain't hearing this shit, and just straight up shoots him. And then She gets on the mic, is like, listen, that wasn't the chief. They setting you up. You got to get the hell out of there now. Like, they're coming for you. And then that's when, they start to try to leave. And we get to see that the groundskeeper is listening as well, because he shows up in the panel and telling everyone, get to the square. And then this is when we're getting a little deeper into the Rascal Randy part, because Javi went running to his locker. He said to get pepper spray, but was ready to get a picture of him and his boyfriend. And he's just broken.
Distraught.
He's just on the floor crying. And then he's like, all right, get it together. We got to go. He's like, all right, we got everything. And he turns around. Hi? And it's just Rascal Randy, doesn't say a word, just jumps at his throat and just starts choking him. And, not for nothing, Javi put up a good fight. He's the first person I've seen that survived interaction with this man. He stabs him in the eye, like actually goes through the open mouth to get the actual person underneath the costume, and then starts running away. And he gets to the pool, and he's like, okay, fuck. Like he says, fuck, like he's just freaking out. And then Rascal Randy just tackles him into the water, and they get into this tussle, and that's when the ropes, they snap, and he tries tying him up, and there's this unbelievably gorgeous panel where it's Rascal Randy tied up on the bottom of the pool, and Javi's back, like going back up to the top, and it's just like it's a whited out silhouette. One of the most stunning panels in this entire series so far, and it didn't even need detail because, like I said, it's literally the silhouette. It's just done so beautifully. And then Javi gets out and he's running away, and that's when literally, and I like how they did it too. Like they had the lettering was really awesome here when he's
squeak,
when he's
the
walking,
squeak,
the squeak. Yeah, it's like in a foot pattern, and then he runs to the roof, and again, not for nothing, but he jumps off the roof.
No, even before that, like he's making his way through the hallways, and then they show this panel from like a really low level, and you can see Rascal or Randy's feet. Oh, he's already out of the pool, just standing there.
Yeah, that's when he goes, "Oh, come on!"
Yeah, he's not.
And that's very
Mike Myers.
Jason.
He got that Mike Myers stamina. Like you're not gonna
magically popping up.
Yeah, you're not gonna outrun this man. I'm sorry.
And I love what so he's like, okay, I just gotta do it. And he just no fear, and just jumps off, lands on the top of this bus to get away. And they literally go, "Where have you been?" And he goes, "Big fucking bunny, huh? Just get us the hell out of here."
You can see the ears on the top of the building just looking down.
Oh my God, so beautiful. Like it's done so well. Like I really like this issue. This is probably from a artistic point, one of the most stylized and most like eye-popping of the issues. Because there's a lot of different parts where it was really stylized. Like even when Audrey's like running away from the scene, after she killed Layla Blaze, it's just oranges and grays, and she's running through, and it looks all dark, and then she gets tripped up by Recluse. And she knows about Recluse's wires because she watched her boss's head get chopped off by one.
Yeah.
So immediately when she gets like trapped, she goes, "What the? Oh no!" And knew she was screwed. And not for nothing, but it looks like Recluse is gonna toy with her a little bit because she didn't just straight up take her out. She literally was like, "You should have watched your step, little bug." Like she almost like flirting with her, really.
Yeah,
like,
this was more like a catching trap than a death trap like the other ones she's done. So maybe she was like just making this was her little nest where she was been hiding out this time, and she should have traps just in case somebody showed up. And unfortunately for Aubrey, it happened to be her. So
all right. Right now, I'm gonna make a prediction. I initially had this whole grand like plan of how the final issues were gonna go, and it was gonna be like Lady Carolina and Fox Mask Killer fighting it out, and then like Pretty Boy would come out of nowhere. They would team up to take him out, and then they both would get killed by Recluse, and Recluse thinks that she's the winner, and then like out of nowhere, after they're like, "Oh, good job, Recluse," and you see Rascal Randy just like step off one of the wires that cuts up and takes her out. I like that idea. I think that's really cool. Rascal Randy winning for the win. But I'm just gonna talk about this one little part right here. So you got Audrey all like caught up by Recluse, right? So who just saw Audrey acting like a total
Lady
badass,
Carolina.
who is also in the same forest? I bet you, because Recluse is so distracted with Audrey, that it's going to be easy pickings for Lady Carolina.
Hmm.
And Lady Carolina is going to save Audrey and kind of be like, recruit her, like, hey, come with me, help me. We're going to survive this. And she's going to
I
try to use Audrey to get the, like, because at some point they see this little, like, breadcrumbs that Massachusetts is trying to convince South Carolina to get in touch with her sister to tell her to get the gun from the lone gunman, which is now in whose hands?
Laura.
Laura's, who is friends of Audrey.
And then also, Pretty Boy is wearing the gunman's mask now. So again, all this is fluid. um,
Oh, and real quick, did you notice? So in issue 8, he pulls out her eye. In issue 9, when he puts on the mask, he's got both eyes again. That means he shoved her eye into the socket that no longer has his eye.
I wasn't even paying attention to
I
that.
I didn't catch that until just now when I was looking as we're talking. I have the stuff up and I'm like, "Oh my god, he's got two eyes now. Oh my god, he's got two eyes now. Oh, that's gross." Like I like gruesome, I like gross stuff, but that is just like, oh my god! It does. It's not like he puts it in and he can magically see. It's just strictly for aesthetics because he's Pretty Boy. He doesn't want to not have his
Right.
eye. Like,
That
that's
and
all it
that
is.
fits the character because he hadn't killed anybody for a long time until he saw himself on the reflection of the car. It was like, oh, I don't, no, that's not me. And he took grab an axe and started murking people out of frustration.
Yeah, really. He turned into freaking John Wick, who someone just killed his dog like
Basically,
instantly.
yeah,
Like,
no, you took the
but
pretty
yeah, this
away.
is
He he got
he
crazy.
was just gangster.
Yeah, no,
So yeah, this for me, this I think this is one of my favorite issues of the series so far. I mean, it should be because we're wrapping up to the conclusion. There's only a few episodes left, so issues
I'm
left.
reading
Excuse me,
issue
I said
10 right after
episodes.
this. I don't know about you.
I'm gonna have to as well because I'm all excited now about this because I'm looking at everything again and all the little details I missed. Even when I looked at it like for the past 4 or 5 days straight, making my notes, still now talking about it. I mean, I'm still noticing things, and that to me is a
A
good
testament
proof
to
of
how good this
a
series
testament to
is.
how good it is. Exactly. I'm sitting here dissecting every freaking panel and I'm still missing key things because I didn't notice the two eyes until just now. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my god, he's got two eyes. I deserve an Oscar for not freaking out when I saw it
We
earlier.
just realized the whole like 13 the theme, the
Yep,
repetitive theme of
exactly.
the 13 colonies, killers, families, issues, right? Like we said from the beginning, this series is really well thought out, right? Like
Yes.
on the surface, it's like, oh, it's a mashup of like these two, concepts. But the more you read it, the more you look into it, especially the more you analyze the commentary by the writing. Um, it's a great series. I'm not surprised they said they're gonna do this for 5 years. I'm not surprised this is gonna get adapted into something in some other media eventually because this is a great overall project.
Yeah.
Counting the marketing, the creative teams, the the amount of effort that they have put into this is very notable. And fans gravitate, like, even if like themes, the political undertones, the the thematics of the power structures and hierarchies and all that is going over your head. The horror, the slashing, the suspense, the the antics are still amazing. Even if there was no soul to the story, like on the surface level, it's
Right.
still pretty
Right.
amazing.
No, absolutely. And like you said, it's very easy to see why from the very beginning we thought this is going to be great. We've got the card game coming soon. We've got the movie coming soon. We've got the last couple issues coming soon. And then we've got 4 more years of this. I don't know about you, man. And like we joked about it. Like, well, who says we're gonna cover all 5 years? It's Tynion. Are you trying to say that Tynion's not going to knock them all out the park? Like,
Why are
I'm
we
not
gonna
saying we
stop?
have
Why,
to,
why are we
but we
stopping?
are going unless Tynion does, like in year 3 is like, you know what, I don't want to write this anymore, and someone else comes in and ruins it. Sure, maybe we'll stop. But if the stories continue the way they're doing right now, we're in for the long haul. We absolutely adore this. There is not a weak point on this team. You know, sometimes you got a good artist, a good writer, bad colorist. You know, you got a good colorist, a good writer, but a bad letterer. There is not a weak link in this team. Mike Walsh, I mean, I've known about him for quite some time, but like for many, he's come out of the blue as this power artist who's also a writer doing great stuff. Shout out to him. Great. Like anything he does, I am just enthralled by.
Yeah.
Tynion, of course, great. Jordy Belair. I
And
mean, you name it.
the fill in artists, pencilers, are top notch, and they are in style wise they're very similar to Mike Walsh. So it's not like it's a drop in quality or it's like a really hard change into the visuals because you
Yeah, not like
still
Ultimate
have
Wolverine.
you still have Jordy Belair as the colorist. So there is
Oh,
continuity in the
so
creative,
good.
even when Mark Walsh has to take a step back in between, a few issues here and there. So overall, this has been amazing. My only problem is that I still haven't gotten a foil trading card from the polybags. Image, what's up with that? I got 20 polybags now between me and my wife, and we got zero,
And um
zero. So
I have
if
9
you ran
issues of
out,
polybags and I've got 4.
if you ran out of the freaking foil trading cards, just let me know. Let me know, and I'll buy it. I'll just buy. I'll just buy them. I'm sure somebody's selling them. Um,
Yo, and they're expensive,
yeah,
bro.
no, like
No, if you go on eBay, like John from Encased Comics, shout out to John. He had someone offer he put up a polybag with the foil card because he pulled one and it went for like
yeah,
$55.
no. Then whoever's running the image account, if you're watching, what's up with the foil cards? I'm all from 20. Okay, I'm I'm struggling here. I don't know what to do.
I mean, for the record, I'm not complaining. I've pulled like 4 of them. So, but like if you are watching, listen, not for nothing, but you might want to consider sending us some of these cards. At least, and I'm not even trying to be like funny. I'm like in true, honest plea. If you are going to start sending out some of these, the decks of cards to the retailer so they can learn how to play, I think you might want to start sending to some of the us creators who have been so enthralled with this book. Like someone like me, I play cards. Like I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh. My brother plays One Piece. I mean, I started playing Gundam a
We might
little bit.
stream
You know what
one
I mean?
day and play on
Pokemon.
a stream and
Like,
promote the series.
listen,
Yeah.
I not for nothing, but I love ripping, and I won't damage cards when you rip them to show
Oh
them
my
off. Just
God.
saying.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw that. I know what
But
you're talking
you know
about.
what?
I saw that too. It hurt my soul the moment I saw that.
I felt like someone punched me in the mouth when I saw that. I was like, oh no, what happened? But that's neither here nor there. Exquisite Corpses, fantastic. Do you have any final thoughts on issues 8 and 9?
No, read issue 10. That's my final thought.
Right. All right. Hey, listen, I got it right over here. Definitely. Oh my God. I'm gonna, if I pull a foil card, I'm not gonna tell you.
Don't, because
I'm lying.
I
I'm
might
gonna tell
I
you.
might say something that I won't be able to take back. So no, keep it to yourself, or
Listen,
or or
not for
or make sure
nothing.
I'm having a good day. So it's not before you tell me.
Hey, not for nothing, but between you know as well as I do that if you got something you gotta get off your chest, I can take you there. I listen, I'm a short white Jewish boy with a very loud mouth who went to public school in the Bronx. Trust me, my skin can handle it. It's thick, boy.
It's all right.
But all right. So now we're gonna, we got one little more thing we have to do before we get out of here. Thank you so much for staying and rocking with us. We're about almost, we're closing in on 2 hours. We're not gonna hit 2 hours, I assure you. But we started this thing called Hook by the Book. Now, we were enthralled by some work that we received, Stellar Lands and Hellion and Bash, and we were so hooked by that first issue, we wanted to make this whole grand tournament. Well, all right, let me phrase that. Nerdtooine, I wanted to do a tournament. I wanted to get all these great writers, all these great books together and like show them off and you know, put them against each other and have a winner so we can have a hooked by the book champion. I got to admit, that is not going to happen. At least not right now. We're
Unfortunately,
clearly
unfortunately.
like we would love to do that. But we put it off for too long. We were trying to get enough books to make it into the, you know, a 1v1 battle, or and then, you know, have at least one round. And it's just we've received a lot of books. Not a lot of them did we want to really get into. But so what we're going to do is we're going to kind of do hooked by the book kind of on a case by case basis. It's no longer a tournament. If a creator sends us a book, or if we pick up a book, like that's not an ongoing series. We'll do, if we do like an ongoing series, we'll cover it like we did Exquisite Corpses and Ultimate Wolverine until they pissed me off. um, but like any mini series or an indie book, because a lot of indie titles only last between 1 and 12 issues, even for their full runs. A lot of times, you know, there are ongoing indie comics, of course, but a lot of them are miniseries, and a lot of publishers are only looking for miniseries or graphic novels. They don't want to even try to do long form. And trust me, I've actually been looking at publishers recently to maybe get Here Walks Monsters in one, and a lot of them either don't want ongoings or they're not doing anything but like
Minis.
graphic novels, you know, or miniseries. So that's neither here nor there. But so that being said, we are going to start finally having some of these creators on. Next episode, we'll be bringing on T.S. Luther to talk about his book, The Digger, which, congratulations, T.S. and Invader Comics. It has sold out at the retailer level. That is a huge, huge thing. And hopefully, keep going to your comic book shop saying you want it, because if there's enough requests for it, they'll go to a second print. And I want nothing more than one of our favorite people, not just favorite creators, favorite people, to get a second print like that. So The Digger, it's basically if Indiana Jones was evil and hunted Short Round. How does that not sound awesome? Okay. And the art is absolutely fantastic. There's not many, I'm a writer myself, so not many books do I look and go, damn, that might be better than mine. Damn. The Digger, Do Not Disturb, also from Invader Comics. Shout out to them, the creators. I was actually lucky enough. I was so excited. I saw a copy of issue 1 on the shelf in my local LCS, and I walked up and I was like, hey, you see this book right here? They're like, yeah. I'm like, you ordered this? He's like, do you know about it? They're like, no. I was like, well, I do. And I'm going to be interviewing the creators. Yeah. How cool is
By
that?
the way,
Like,
issue number 2 for The Digger and Do Not Disturb comes out this Wednesday. Both of them.
oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Good that like, they both suffered some delays in the initial, but it looks like they're off to their gates and they're running. Can't be happier for them. So I'm so excited to have. We'll have TS on the next episode, and then we'll bring on the creators, because there's actually a writer and then a writer artist duo that created Do Not Disturb. So we're gonna bring them on,
Also,
and then
if
we'll also
if you don't see copies of The Digger or Do Not Disturb at your local comic book store, you can reach out to Invader Comics or Luther or the creators, and they might have copies for sale themselves.
might.
Yeah.
Might.
So
don't be like, well, Planet Nerdtooine says you have
check.
copies.
If you didn't get your copy, if you didn't listen to us and you fucked up and you didn't pre-order yours, reach out to them to see if they still have copies at the Invader website or the creators themselves. I know they have their own copies. So please check them out.
And then we're also gonna. I haven't actually. There's only one of the Hooked by the Book combatants that I haven't reached out to yet. Is the creators of Sketch Night, which is another great book that we absolutely loved. We're gonna reach out to them, bring them on. So we'll have back-to-back episodes coming up here. We'll be off this week, right? No, we're next week. I don't know. we'll be off. This is the last one for February. And then we'll have 2 episodes back to back with the creators of those great indie titles to start up next month. And then hopefully I'll be at MegaCon and doing interviews with, you know, creators while I'm there. Hopefully, I always say I'm going to do it and never do, but so we're not going to be having a regular episode then. So we're going to double up on great creator interviews. And you know, I'm very thankful and grateful that we had any submissions. You know, I mean, like I don't want to sound like I'm like complaining because we didn't get more quality books that we wanted to review in this tournament. I'm not. I'm so thankful for the ones that we have got, because The Digger, Sketch Night, Do Not Disturb. I mean, these books I will put up against any of the Marvel, the DC, the Image. Like, if you're asking me, The Digger and Do Not Disturb are up there with Exquisite Corpses for how quality of a book it is. Granted, we've only read one issue, so I mean, it could fall off. I doubt it's going to, because we know the creative teams and who's behind it, but it could. But I mean, these books are phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, phenomenal. The writing, the lettering, the art, everything is just so well done. And, you know, not for nothing, shout out to Invader Comics, because there are not a lot of indie publishers, and trust me, I looked, that are not only accepting applications for submissions to get in there, but they're actually helping. Like, it really like struck a chord with me when my local LCS, who does not like, didn't really know what Invader was, didn't really know the creative team behind Do Not Disturb, they still ordered it. It was on the shelves of my comic shop. I was like, you know what? Thank you, Invader, because so far, at least, everything that they've greenlit has been top notch. And these are not unknowns, because, you know, Luther's been doing it for a while, so as the creative teams of Do Not Disturb, but not everyone knows them. They don't see them on comic shops, and the Invader is getting them into comic shops. And you know what?
That's big time. That's big time.
And then some people might see this in the future, be like, he was just sucking up. Yeah, maybe.
We don't have a problem when things are good. We don't have a problem to be glazing. Like
right?
we if we can talk about what Image is doing and Marvel and DC are doing, we can most definitely talk about what is being done for our friends that are putting themselves out there with a little bit of help from this publisher. That if it wasn't like this, who knows where these books would have ended up, right? So shout out to them. Like I said, issue number 2 comes out this Wednesday. Make sure you reach out to them if you didn't get a copy of number 1. But you know, these guys, these creators have a very bright future ahead of them, whether it's in Invader Comics, in this specific series, or in the next projects. Because like we know Luthor, he's probably cooking up something else.
Oh yeah. Oh no. I actually I got some insight through some other people on what he's cooking up for them, and I'm like, ooh, yeah. Yes. Listen, if talking about a great comic book writer who happens to be a friend is a crime, lock me the fuck up.
Yeah.
All right, lock me the fuck up. But on that note, Year, you got any final thoughts before we head up out of here? All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Every time you stop by, every time you make a comment, happy, naughty, or nice, we always are excited to see them. Everything helps with the algorithm. So if you know anybody who likes comic book content, let them give them a share. Let them know what we got cooking over here at Planet Nerdtooine. Then until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.